On to the project tonight, Leonardo DiCaprio feuding pollies and a dead fish in Parliament. Australia's salmon industry saga unpacked.
Bowser Bliss, the opposition leader's big pitch to voters, promising cash back for all Aussie drivers if elected, but there's a catch.
And what's kicked off a footy code war between the AFL and the NRL?
Plus, Aussie DJ sensation Cyril stumbles into the studio and is joining us live at the desk.
Wow, stumbles. We've called substance abuse early or something. I'm not sure what's happened there. We're live from the Lands of the Cooler Nation. It's a Thursday, so Susie Yusuf is here. Yeah! And also, please welcome Alex Land! All right. Start flexing your box-ticking fingers. It has just been reportedly confirmed, allegedly, that the PM will call the election tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, the opposition isn't wasting time trying to win voters, announcing a tasty sweetener ahead of tonight's budget reply speech.
There are always signs an election is about to be called. There are the Canberra whispers.
There's a lot of expectation around this building that it will be called tomorrow morning.
There's an accidental publishing, then deleting of a social media post.
The government is now operating in accordance with caretaker conventions.
This page doesn't exist. Try searching for something else.
And then there's that one special word.
The relief for Australians at the petrol Bowser.
At the fuel Bowser.
At the Bowser.
People will get the relief at the Bowser straight away.
Bowser?
That's right, Mario. Peter Dutton is dangling an election sweetener in front of drivers like you, promising to slash fuel prices just one day after the PM accused him of being
Delulu with no Salulu, Mr. Speaker.
The opposition leader has hit back with a fuel Lulu Exuzu Katutu. Am I doing this right?
Oh! 25 cents is not bad. Add that to my, 5 cent discount that you get with Coles. Hey, you're laughing.
Pretty meaningless, it's the same as every other budget every year.
The $6 billion promise would see the current 50-cent fuel excise halved, saving drivers around $14 per tank, according to the opposition's maths, though some experts put that number closer to $9. Either way, it's all a one-time deal set to expire after just a year.
It's temporary, but it's also immediate.
The most immediate effect could be saving the opposition from being wedged politically by Labor's $5 a week tax cut, a cut the opposition voted against yesterday and has now promised to repeal.
It's an either-or option. We just can't pretend that we've got endless amounts of money.
Permanent tax cuts, not a one-off, time-limited for 12 months.
So, with the election likely to be called within hours, how will voters feel about the coalition's 25 cents per litre saving versus Labor's $5 extra a week?
They're both quite minimal.
I'll take the tax cut.
Definitely tax cuts.
In the short term, a cheaper tank of fuel always feels better.
You'd probably want both. Really, sorry.
The host of ABC's Insiders, David Spears, joins us now. David, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be camped outside the Governor-General's house?
Probably will be this time tomorrow. Well, I reckon by this time tomorrow we'll be into the campaign. Pretty much everyone in this building where I am is expecting tomorrow morning the Prime Minister will head down to Government House and call this thing. So the waiting finally over.
Yeah, well, the timing of this caretaker post and tomorrow's possible election call really takes the attention away from Dutton, doesn't it? Is this just an accident?
Look, you always scratch your head and wonder, like an accidental post, how accidental was that? It's got us all hopping up and down. Look, I don't know, but clearly the PM does not want to give Peter Dutton, his opponent, too much spotlight. Dutton's got his budget reply speech tonight and he'll have various announcements to make. But then, the PM will want to take the oxygen back tomorrow morning when he heads down, we expect, to call the election. That's how they play it.
Now, we've got Labor's tax cuts versus the fuel excise. What do you think is going to have a greater sway with the voters?
Yeah, look, it is a good question, right? And it's hearing from various voters today, there are mixed views on this, but it really is the hip pocket auction. You know, we've had years of talking about how to keep inflation down, don't spend too much, we've got to really rein in spending, and now all of a sudden open the wallet and you know, Labor saying we've got this fairly modest but ongoing tax cut, whereas Peter Dutton's saying we'll give you an immediate but temporary cut in your fuel excise. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I suppose Labor's goal here is to convince people that this will be ongoing. It's only tiny, but you'll be able to keep getting this tax relief for years to come.
The thing that I found fascinating was Peter Dutton today saying he's going to repeal the tax cut. So we've seen this plenty of times where they oppose the tax cut and then they ultimately let it But if this gets passed and he says he's going to repeal it, that I don't know what to do with that. Can you genuinely imagine the coalition saying we're going to have a tax hike?
You're right to be puzzled about this. I mean, this is unheard of, and you can see why Labor went right at them over this today, saying you're going to jack up taxes. You'll hear this every day from Labor in the campaign now. It is a very risky move from Peter Dutton. Sure, he hopes the fuel excise relief will offset concerns about that, but bottom line, this is a philosophically strange place for the Conservatives to be, saying that they would increase your personal tax rate.
David Spears, can you just tell us who's going to win?
I wish I could. I don't have the crystal ball.
But if you had to guess today, who would you say?
Look, it's close. I'm going to sit on the fence here a little. But there has been momentum coming back to Labor over recent weeks. There are some polls that are showing that. The betting markets are showing that. So, look, Anthony Albanese would be feeling better, but this will be a campaign where it's won and lost. The next 6 weeks are really, or 5 weeks, are really going to matter. So one trip up, one bad day could really cost them a lot.
I don't know. You can always tell by the tie.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
So the orange team is going to win.
Labor
this is
red,
orange.
huh?
Yeah.
This is orange.
It's
this
really
is
important
definitely orange.
Thank you very much for your time.
Now, this bloke in Whyalla was relieved to see there was cash in the budget to bail out the local steelworks, but he couldn't quite keep his emotions in check. And a language warning, this gets pretty blue.
It'll keep us going for a while, and hopefully it'll pull us out of trouble. I shouldn't swear, but...
Well, you can. You wouldn't be the first one this morning, that's for sure.
No.
Go and say what you think.
No, at least it'll pull us out the poo.
Sir, do you lick your stamps with that mouth? I'm sorry you all had to hear that.
All right, let's get some more news now. And new research shows not all supermarkets are created equal, with the average basket of groceries costing more at Woolies than it did a year ago. But the latest government-funded survey from consumer group Choice found that the same items cost less at Aldi and Coles. Even with specials, customers spent less on the average basket at Coles and Aldi.
Anywhere you go, honestly, it's all been expensive. Everything's gone up.
I mainly go to Aldi. I love Aldi.
I'm lucky I don't have a big family, but I do feel for the people that do.
National security experts still can't believe that highly classified information was leaked from a Signal group chat between senior members of the US government and journalist Jeffrey Goldberg, who received that information, says he was left with no choice but to share everything after the Trump administration refused to acknowledge the gravity of the incident. The White House has reportedly banned the use of Signal as Elon Musk gets to work figuring out how Goldberg was added to the chat in the first place.
Someone made a mistake. Someone made a big mistake.
And a Victorian primary school has come up with a creative way to fight absenteeism. Wyndham Park Primary uses a reward system that allows students to accumulate points for showing up. Those points can be redeemed for things like yo-yos, whistles and fidgets, and kids with a perfect attendance record each term score the ultimate treat, a pizza party. The program has seen attendance since 2022 increase by 2%.
A pizza party. Throw in a garlic bread and I am in. Absolutely.
You're rocking up with a little hat on and your little school
I don't need
bag.
a hat, Alex. I got 2 hands and a mouth. That's all I need for my pizza party.
Am I the only one that thinks a 2% increase is not that great a result?
No, I agree. And actually, if I'm being honest, Mum's leftover dinners that I was given for lunch all through primary school, it's kind of better than pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing Lebanese people can say.
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Yeah. That's right.
Yes, thank you,
All right,
Mother.
We're off to a break. We'll see you soon. Back to the project.
Danny and Eloise Massa broke our hearts last month when we spoke to them about their 2-year-old son Joe, who died as a result of systemic failures at Sydney's privately operated Northern Beaches Hospital.
I didn't get to cherish the last moments with Joe because I was too busy trying to find adequate care for Joe. And as a mother, you have to do everything. You have to fight to the last second. As Joe is dying in the bed, unaccompanied, not on a drip, left there to cruelly die.
Now, after months of campaigning, the Massas have had a win. Today, the New South Wales government introduced Joe's Law, which will ensure public hospitals like the one Joe was treated in won't be able to privatise their emergency, surgical or inpatient services.
Healthcare should not primarily be about making profit. It should be about saving lives and ensuring people get healthy.
Danny and Eloise Massa join us now. Guys, you fought so hard for this. What difference do you think it will make?
A huge difference to every single person in New South Wales who relies on walking into a very safe emergency department in a public hospital. So this will safeguard now our children and their children so that they're not sitting in our shoes like we are today at Parliament, and that legislation is in place so that this fantastic standards of care are rolled out across all public emergency departments in New South Wales. We know that the public-private partnership model has failed in our healthcare system in New South Wales, especially at the Northern Beaches Hospital.
You are both just so incredible, the way you've managed to turn your grief into something positive through Joe's law. The Northern Beaches Hospital, however, will still be able to operate until the end of its contract, which is another 13 years. What does that mean to you?
The Northern Beaches community, I don't think, can wait another 12 or 13 years for that hospital to return back to New South Wales Health and be run as a public hospital. It needs to be returned back as soon as possible. There is contracts in place with Healthscope and New South Wales Government, but we would implore the New South Wales Government to move heaven and earth to get that hospital back under its control and to deliver healthcare services that the Northern Beaches deserves.
Do you feel proud of how much you have fought for this?
I'm in awe and so proud of my wife, Elle. As a mum, what she experienced with Joe, and to pick herself up and to push for this change is just so inspiring. She's so strong. When the kids ask me for anything, I just say, ask Mum, she's the boss. And so, yeah.
I'm a mum to 3 children, Joe, Grace and Teddy, and I'm not only doing this to honour Joe's legacy, but also for every child in New South Wales, because they need to know that when they walk into a public emergency department, that profit won't be at the forefront of decision making, that their health will be at the forefront of the decision making. And that is why we stand today with such determination to make sure that this doesn't happen to one more family. The New South Wales Government has stood with us. They've listened to our calls. We applaud them. We congratulate them. It's taken 1 month to get us this far. Let's see what else we can achieve, because there is still a lot to achieve.
Eloise and Danny, you are just the most extraordinary parents. We just want to throw our arms around you. Thanks so much for talking to us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Time for a break. More Project after this. This is the Project.
An Aussie has bagged the biggest prize in the history of network television. Former Australian Survivor winner David Janae has pocketed $5.8 million on Deal or No Deal Island. This is a TV show that combines Survivor and Deal or No Deal, and I did not just make that up. Over the season, contestants accumulate money that goes into a big prize pool, and like Survivor contestants, they're voted off. And then ultimately, the man who they call the Golden God found himself picking between 2 suitcases.
The most money anyone has ever won in the history of network television. Deal or no deal?
I know where that money's at.
Oh, David.
But I've also seen hubris take out a lot of people. I think in this case, deal.
It was a win for humility. Meet Australia's newest multimillionaire, David Janae.
Yeah, humility's not really my thing, especially at the moment. But
I'm picking up that vibe, mate, because you are loaded. What's the plan now?
Man, I haven't slept in 2 days, so I'm not actually sure what the plan is, but it's going to be something good. It's going to be something good. I think it's such an obscene amount of money. And I've had to sit on this for almost a year. Like, we finished filming August last year. So it's been really an exercise in kind of like pushing down my emotions and trying to pretend like, oh, I don't know who won, who could have won, and how.
David, that must have been so hard for you, though. You were probably looking at diamond-encrusted shoes, wondering, do I buy them or not? Like, how on earth have you gone through the last year?
I mean, I've always been a big fan of diamond-encrusted shoes, so that was never really a question.
It was going to happen, yeah.
But no, it was really more about, like, all your friends and family being like, so how did that show go? You being like, oh, all right, it was fine. Because, I mean, I floated for the first 2 weeks after I finished. We finished filming and I just was like humming. My body was like on a different frequency. So trying to suppress that when you're around people and you constantly have the biggest shit-eating grin on your face. Okay, how did it go? It was good. It was fine. I don't know.
So one of the things that you managed to hide throughout the show, I understand, is that you are a winner of Australian Survivor. And had people known that, they might have, lined up against you and voted you out because you would have been a threat. Like, how much do you think that could have changed the outcome?
So, well, it was huge. They had another Survivor champion, American Survivor champion, Parvati Shallow, on there. And she was such a huge threat to everyone. Now, I was getting these behind-the-scenes conversations they didn't want her to hear, where they're like, we can't have a Survivor champion come in here and run over the top of us like this. That's never going to happen. And I was like, yeah, we can't let that happen.
David, you've obviously got a pretty good track record. What show are you going to tackle next?
I thought I might start hosting the project.
Hey,
so
okay.
That works out. Waleed and I are going to fight to the death next month.
You could just give him $9 million bucks.
I'm
That would probably do the
235
trick.
on you, so you might have to start packing on some size. I'm just throwing.
Okay.
You can see it here.
A really weird
Pay-per-view.
smackdown all of a sudden. David, I was going to say thanks for your time, but now I'll just say see you in hell, punk.
Perfect. The beef started, man. That's the seed's been planted.
All away. I'm all business.
My money's on Dave. And you can catch Deal or No Deal Ireland now on 10 Play. And Dave will be back on 10 later in the year in the Ultimate Survivor Showdown, Australia versus the world, and also Waleed versus David.
Yeah, right. That is if he doesn't have another job, as we heard.
Let's get some more news now, and it appears that Anthony Albanese will call the election for May 3rd. The PM will reportedly head to Yarralumla to speak with Governor-General Sam Mostyn tomorrow. It's a move that would steal focus away from Peter Dutton's budget promise of cutting the cost of petrol by halving the fuel excise for 12 months.
People will get the relief at the Bowser straight away with a 25-cent reduction in the price of petrol and diesel. I think that is a better way of helping families and small businesses. It impacts right across the economy.
Tragic start to this year's Melbourne International Comedy Festival after a man died during the opening night gala. Shocked audience members watched on as other patrons performed CPR and used a defibrillator in an attempt to save him. The show was stopped and then later cancelled. Some witnesses say that didn't happen fast enough.
I'm quite sure that it would have felt like an eternity for people that were around. It must have been incredibly distressing, but it did actually happen as fast as it possibly could.
In other news, a surprise for a Victorian woman who believed someone was trying to break into her Yarra Junction home last night. Emily Thomas says her brain went straight to the worst case scenario, so she called the police, but officers didn't find a burglar. Emily's intruder was just a koala looking for a comfy place to sleep.
They checked every room for me and said, no, it's all clear, and then they shone their torch out through the glass sliding door, and there's this giant koala sitting in my dog bed.
How did that koala sound, Sarah?
You only get it once, Wally.
Oh, come on! It was one of the great moments. You can't relive it.
Can't relive it.
All right. A woman has gone viral for a sneaky hack to test whether her hubby actually cleaned the bathroom like he promised he would when she went out with the kids. Apparently, he always says he cleans, but she's sure he doesn't. So what she did is she sprinkled glitter under the toilet seat, beneath the hand wash on the sink, and under the bath mat. And then sure enough, her instincts were, she says, right. When she got home, the glitter was still there.
Dirty dog.
Case closed.
Dirty dog.
Or is it?
Hey, what do you mean, or is it?
Your Honour, I will defend this man.
Of course.
Because I
Go on.
No, explain.
Quite seriously,
Yes.
if I were in this situation, and let's assume I legitimately did the cleaning, right, and I lift up the toilet seat and I saw the glitter, my response would be, I'm sure there's a reason for that. And then I would put it back.
Oh my God.
So exactly
you
what I would
was
do.
buying that.
You're
That's
wiping
weaponised
down-
incompetence.
No, it's not. It's deference.
Yeah, so you're wiping around the glitter because you're like, if my wife has put glitter there, there must be a good
Oh,
reason
I would say,
for it.
I know I didn't put it there. And I'm pretty sure it didn't randomly collect there. So who could have put it there? Only if Susan put it there. And if she's put it there, I'll probably get in trouble. I can't believe this
around. How am I to turn it around?
I would do something like this. I would think this is an amazing trick, and then I would forget that I've done it and be like, there is a medical problem and I am now peeing glitter.
What did I eat?
What? Beetroot? No. Yeah.
Sorry, you find that more reasonable?
Sarah knows me well.
We've all been there, babe.
Okay.
We've all been there. All right, let's...
We've all been wet.
You know, let's move on.
Yeah.
From Leonardo DiCaprio to mass protests to a viral dead fish in the Senate. It's the salmon showdown that has the world hooked. So what in the pan-fried fillet is going on?
Nature laws under attack. Stand up. Toxic salmon! No toxic salmon!
There's been drama.
Why are you pushing a species to the brink of extinction? You're a pack of mongrels.
A celebrity cameo.
Urgent. Help save the Maugean skate.
And a large dead fish in Parliament.
Have you sold out your environment credentials for a rotten, stinking extinction salmon?
All in an effort to stave off this.
The bill be now passed.
The government, backed by the coalition, rushing through new laws to ensure salmon farming can continue in Tasmania's World Heritage listed Macquarie Harbour. A move the salmon industry claims will safeguard the livelihoods of 400 Tassie families.
That's bullshit. That is spin doctor stuff.
The 22 jobs, I'll say that again, the 22 jobs in Macquarie Harbour.
So how do we get here?
Nature laws are under attack.
It all began in 2023 when 3 environmental groups penned letters to the Environment Minister calling for a review into a decade-old decision approving the expansion of salmon farming in the harbour. Their mission, to ensure the survival of a prehistoric fish called the Maugean skate.
Big salmon corporations that are polluting the marine environment down in Tassie and driving an ancient, iconic fish species, the Maugean skate, into extinction.
But in order to conduct a review, all salmon operations would likely have to be paused.
The industry would have to be suspended overnight.
And this new law puts a stop to all that by preventing the government from reviewing environmental decisions more than 5 years old.
I mean, you can't have a position where jobs could simply disappear overnight because of a bureaucratic reassessment.
But opponents say it's not just about the salmon.
This is much, much worse.
It could be salmon farms today and gas projects tomorrow.
This carve-out for the salmon industry actually creates a weaker set of environment laws.
It opens the door to more carve-outs, more loopholes, industries that pollute, extract and destroy.
It doesn't water down any of the other environmental protections that we have in place.
And as for the skate...
We know that the science has told us that the number of skate is at the same level that they were in 2014. You need to listen to the science.
The salmon corporations are laughing all the way to the bank. It's nature that's going to pay the price.
Eloise Carr leads the Australia Institute Tasmania and is with us now. Eloise, lots of people at home probably don't think much beyond salmon other than that it's from Tassie, it's tasty, it's in the supermarket, might be on special. But why should they care about this?
The law that passed through Parliament last night is not only an attack on nature, it's also an attack on our democracy. It will reduce the ability for citizens, in fact for anyone, whether you're a minister, an environmental group, a civil society organisation or anyone at all, to be able to trigger a review under our national nature laws.
The government says it's just trying to protect the jobs of hundreds of families. Is that true?
The industry has been exaggerating their economic significance for a very long time. Their own website now admits that there are 60 jobs on the west coast of Tasmania that are based in the salmon farms in Macquarie Harbour. There are another 60 that drive in and drive out, meaning they don't live in the community. The opposition has announced that they would be looking at cutting 41,000 public servant jobs, and that is apparently okay because apparently there's plenty of jobs around for those public servants. This isn't about jobs. This certainly isn't about paying tax because the Australia Institute has looked at the tax and no tax has been paid, no corporate tax has been paid by this industry since 2019. And over that same period, over $4 billion worth of fish have been sold. I just want to remind people the Maugean skate is recognised for its World Heritage value because of its link to the dinosaur era. It is an incredibly special little animal that glides through the ocean. Its only home, Macquarie Harbour, is World Heritage listed. So if we are not going to draw a line in the sand to protect World Heritage, when will we?
Eloise, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
There's alarm bells ringing in my head when laws like this get passed so quickly, and then the law is that there will be no review on something that happened more than 5 years ago, if I'm to understand this correctly.
I'm with you on that. That's the bit I can't... I'm not going to weigh in on the back and forth about the Maugean skate. I don't know enough about that. But I just can't see how anyone wins from saying if a decision was made 5 years and 1 month ago, that's not reviewable. Yeah. Like if what you want to do is save that industry, and then fine, have targeted very specific legislation for that industry that says we're going to save it in this way. But that's blank. So the point that I think David Pocock was making that point, among others, but he was making it quite strongly. We don't actually know where that would end up, do we? Like the application of that to all sorts of government decisions. I mean, in this case, in the environmental space, who knows? Yeah,
it's kind of terrifying.
It just worries me. It would be good to hear an argument from the government about that element of it, because I feel like all the arguments about the salmon stuff, and if I'm right, it's bigger than that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it feels like it is.
Yeah.
All right, there's more project on the way, so make sure you stick around.
Welcome back.
Well, it is the closest thing we have to civil war. Mate versus mate, state versus state, Aussie rules versus league. Now, the stoush has reached new heights as the AFL and NRL bosses trade blows over which code is really our most beloved Aussie sport.
It's the true blue battle that's raged for more than a century.
It's called the Australian Football League for a reason. NRL just doesn't come close.
NRL, 100%.
AFL, you just get more out of it.
NRL, bro. AFL's I reckon, bro. Straight out.
A nation of footy-loving fanatics divided by the impenetrable Barassi line.
You've got the state of origin and stuff like that. They don't have things for AFL like what we have.
Oh, I think AFL's got better-looking players.
Now the Code War has reignited thanks to one cheeky little slogan.
Australia's biggest sport unleashed in Vegas.
The NRL triggering an all-out brawl.
Crap! Facts don't support that argument.
What a hanger!
It's delusional to promote it as Australia's biggest sport.
Look at the Collingwood boys! King! They're into it!
Rugby League clapping back against the critics with some cold hard stats. Its annual report revealing the NRL amassed almost 187 million TV viewers compared to the AFL's 149 million. Proof, it says, it's now the most watched sports code in the country.
Everybody watches around the world. AFL is just in Australia.
No way. AFL the most popular sport. Just have a look at the attendance at the MCG every weekend.
The AFL's dropping stats of its own, saying 400 million hours of Aussie rules games were watched last year, 40% more than the next closest sport, and 1 in 20 Aussies is a paying member of a club.
We measure ourselves on traditional metrics like people turning up to games, people watching, how long they watch for, how many people play. We just call them traditional metrics.
What's the traditional metrics, the ones that you make up?
Oh my goodness!
NRL boss Peter Dutton's hitting back, turning the Code War into a class war.
The AFL have always looked down their nose at rugby league. They treat us as second-class citizens. It's obvious we've got them rattled.
Oh, out it comes on a seek and destroy mission
There's a touch of arrogance there, yeah, definitely.
Volandi's even accusing the AFL of copying rugby league's ideas.
We have a thing called Magic Round. All of a sudden, there's a gather round. I read in the paper this week they've got this new investment policy. It's the NRL's investment policy.
What a rugby league team!
So, in the clash of the codes, who comes out on top?
Here in Melbourne, Aussie rules.
NRL, man, like, you can't go past it.
Let's settle this debate once and for all, shall we? Here to do it, NRL legend Benny Elias and Triple M host and AFL legend Spider Everett.
Yeah, absolutely. About time. About time.
Good to have you both here. Let's do this, Benny. 20 seconds I'm going to give you. Give us your best shot. Why is the NRL the biggest Aussie sport?
Oh, look, the great thing about sport is the scoreboard, and without a doubt, the viewers that watch rugby league absolutely smash the AFL by 38 million people a year. Last year, 2024, there were 38 million people watching more than they watch the AFL. Also, State of Origin, my goodness gracious
time's
me.
up, Benny. That was 20 seconds. Spider, your 20 seconds. Go.
Oh, I've got half an hour to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's very, very simple. The AFL, where else can you have 90,000 people? You have the specky, you have the mark, you have the tackle, you go back into a pack. And you know what? That's what I love about AFL is the fact that we get 90,000 people at a game. That's why we don't have the TV audience, because we have people that actually turn up and to the games. We have over 1 million members.
Oh, time's up.
Okay, the NRL just can't compete.
No, see, this is why we had to keep them in separate boxes,
Different
so they wouldn't
states.
come to blows. Hey, Spider, what about these claims from Peter Volandis that the AFL looks down its nose at the NRL? What do you think of that? Do you do that?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's not being arrogant. That is just, no, this is just the truth, because we are the OG. We are as Australian, as a meat pie, as a kangaroo, as Holden cars. They come into the system 50 years later. We're called Australian rules football because we are Australia's national code. OK, if we haven't got the viewers, but I'll tell you what, we've got the participants, and that's male and female. So, you know what, Peter Volandis, unfortunately, yeah, we do steal some of your ideas, but you know what? When we do, we make them better.
Hey, Benny, you got to punch back here. I mean, is the AFL just soft?
Thanks, Sarah. 100%. Are you joking? You got Volandis versus Dylan. Are you kidding? Knockout punch first round. I mean, what we've done now, we've introduced the magic round. All of a sudden, a couple of years later, the AFL have done something brilliant called the gather round. Oh, my goodness. What they're doing, they're gathering dust. That's all they're doing. There's nothing. You've got to be joking. These people, they want to... the international game. Oh, that's right. You guys don't play overseas, do you? We haven't got an international...
hang on.
And that's right.
Isn't your game actually an international game?
Hang on, this is the sport. This is the sport that you get a point for missing a goal. Oh, come on. This is the sport that fumbles the ball left, right and centre, spills over everything, and they kick a ball through and they run around like clowns. Like, serious.
All right, let's jump in, Alex. Jump in.
Okay, just the NRL.
Here.
Yep.
All right, the AFL stats say they come out on top with Aussies watching for 400 million hours last year.
Oh.
Benny, why do you reckon that might be?
Oh, my God. It stops every 2 minutes. Stop and start, stop and start.
Hang on.
Our games go.
Your whole game's this. No, please stop it there. I'll tell you, we can stop this once and for all. I've got an idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've got an idea. Let's make it the Australian Survivor. AFL versus NRL.
Yes.
Let's put NRL and AFL in there and let's see who actually wins.
I love it. On 10 and 10 play.
Are you stealing that idea off Peter Volandis also? He brought that up a couple of
He
weeks
wouldn't have
ago.
come up with that. That is too good for Pete.
All right, fellas, look, Benny Elias, I will support you in anything that you say or do because I'm the biggest fan, but I do have to say this.
Yes.
Short shorts and no sleeves, it's pretty hard to fight with the AFL. Why can't we have both, fellas? Why can't we love you both?
We did. Once upon a time, we did a commercial called Tina Turner. Do we remember that? Simply the Best.
I remember that.
Yes,
and
I remember that.
And that's when it really did hit
Don't
its
start
heights.
bringing up pre-game.
Pre-game.
Go on, Spider.
Don't start bringing up pre-game entertainment because that's where you know we actually smash you, OK? AFL Grand Final clearly outrates the NRL.
All right, look, it's been a bit of a pissing contest here, and I think we all know which code would win that one. Let's end this on a nice note. I'd like you both to say something nice about the other one's code.
Yes.
Yeah, the full-time herder.
I'll tell you honestly, the only thing we're jealous about the NRL is you do Vegas round very, very well. Vegas round is absolutely magnificent. We love it. The only thing about it is that you only probably get 20 people from the US there, but that's okay. We don't mind. It's still a good launch.
Now, we cannot mention the game, the NRLW, the Women's Rugby League is probably the fastest growing sport in the country, bar none. It is so exciting, and I've got to give the thumbs up to the girls out there. They're doing a great job, and that's making the game prouder and prouder every week.
Well, it's been wonderful to have this, I think, insightful debate between both of you. Thank you very much for your time. I'm pretty confident we know who won. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. As they say, Auckland.
Back after this.
Let's head to WA now, where Fremantle's Port Beach has reopened after a bloke had a run-in with a shark. But that incident wasn't enough to deter this swimmer who had some flawless logic.
Any concerns with jumping in the water today?
No, not at all. As long as there's lots of us there, it can only get one of us.
Yeah, swim with your mates, or as they called them in Freo, your chums.
Well, our next guest hasn't just stumbled into his newfound fame, he's worked hard to make his way to the top.
And touch the sound of silence.
Cyril is the bucket-hatted Aussie DJ, absolutely tearing up the charts. He's mastered the art of reimagining truly classic tracks and giving them a new life. His remix of Stumblin' In, the most played song on Aussie radio last year. In less than 3 years, Cyril has clocked up 1 billion streams and his latest single is soaring.
Please welcome Cyril! Thanks for coming in to help us out with this. AFL or NRL?
NRL.
Hey! It's you and me against the world, kiddo.
Where's Georgie Tunny?
So, congratulations on being the hottest thing on radio at the moment. And you're one of these sort of, every now and again someone comes along where even if they don't know it, they've heard one of your songs. It's that sort of situation. Like, how does it feel to just have all this reach all of a sudden?
It's crazy. It's I think like last year I didn't really take it in, and then this year now it's like I'm reaping the benefits of having a few good songs, and it's good. I'm looking forward to the next one.
And it's just amazing what you're doing. You're choosing these classics and reinventing them for a whole new audience. I mean, how do you choose what song you're going to remake next?
It's hard. It depends how much I drink.
Talk us through this process.
I think I just scroll through Spotify, or sometimes it comes up in my head. I'm like, I want to touch this one and have a go at this one. And sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. But this year it's really concentrating on original music and trying to make some good stuff. We've got a new track out in 6 weeks. Ooh. And got a collab, so I'm really happy with it. And I can't wait to announce it.
A collab.
Yeah.
When you do sample like an older song, though, how do you go? Like, do you ever get nervous that you might be messing with a masterpiece?
Absolutely. And when I can see that like people are going to be angry about that one, I think I'll leave it.
Like what? What would you not touch?
Oh, I think like Slim Dusty or something, you know?
Yeah.
Because Australians can get angry, you know?
Yeah. But speaking of masterpieces, I mean, everyone in this country who is of a certain age would know this song, so have a listen.
Bobby will come to you. Tell me more. On 1330 32. Tell me more.
I mean, there's a challenge for you. Would you take it on?
I think I'll get cancelled today.
He's too young to remember.
I know, I actually think he is. I'm very embarrassed right now to be an old lady.
Could you seriously remix something like that and make it
I probably could. I did that 1300 6555 06.
Yeah,
I did that one once. Yeah.
How did it go?
So bad.
What is it that makes it good though? Like, how can you hear it and go, I can work with that, but not that one?
It's really weird. Like, I did Sound of Silence, and that's at 80 BPM. So if people don't understand the BPM, it's like a slow, very slow song, obviously. And when I tried to do it, the vocals were like not in time with each other. So then I had to spend 16 hours in the studio, non-stop. I drank a lot of wine and just chopped up the vocal to make it sound like straight. And then it's like you spend that time, but I still haven't like started to remix it or started to, you know, mess with it. And then at that point where you hear something in it, you're like, that'll work. But I sort of knew in my head that would be a good song to remix. I had the whole idea in my head.
So with all the OG artists that you're using, do you ever hear from them?
Yeah, I've was with Susie Quattro in Adelaide. I was with Disturbed in Perth. Yeah, I know Teddy Swims.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a good mate. Not really a good mate, but, you know, I've met him.
No, that counts as a good mate. Have you ever heard from any of their lawyers?
Not yet. I'm waiting for it. No, we put contracts in place and stuff.
Yeah, right.
We make sure we're covered.
Yeah.
Thank God.
We saw Fatboy Slim on the decks in a fish and chip shop in Melbourne the other day. It looks pretty awesome. I think we've got some pictures here. But where is the weirdest place that you've played?
There's been a few times where it got a little bit weird. I think one that stands out, I was in London and there was a marathon that was about to start and my drivers went through the barricade where they were just about to close it, trying to sneak in. Anyway, so we've got stuck in the middle of this marathon and I've had to run with the marathon 2 kilometres to the show. I've got to the show and we had to climb a ladder and there was 150 people up there. It was like a Cyril pop-up show in London. And people were jumping and the floor was caving in. It was started bouncing stuff. So I had to go on the mic, I was like, everyone, you have to two-step, just two-step. It's the first time I've used them words in my life.
Cyril, did you win the London Marathon? Is that what happened?
Pretty much. I think I should have got a medal, to be honest.
That's another win for rugby league, isn't it? You can check out Cyril's latest single, Still Into You, now, if you like. In the meantime, would you please give it up? Cyril!
That's it for tonight. Thank Alex Lee as well.